how I get 76% more resources in Bedwars. In this video I will talk about how you can get a lot more resources like iron, gold, emeralds and diamonds in Hypixel Bedwars, and how you can make sure you are more stacked than your opponents, because this is really important. And if you've watched my last video, you will now know that being stacked is a very important factor in winning Bedwars, and it might even be the most important factor. So the first thing you can do, and this is very basic and many of you will probably already know this, but you can split the generator in team modes. Both you and the teammate get the full amount of resources that are in the generator, and this only works with the generators in the bases, not with the diamond and emerald generators. Basically how you do this is you stand at the edge of the generator and wait for your teammate to walk in, and then both of you get the exact same amount of resources. The resources aren't split between you, you both get the full generator. And if you're respawning, you should always watch out if any teammate wants to split the generator. Either you're in a voice call and they will tell you, or you can just read the chat to see if recently any of your teammates have died. And when you respawn, go into a fight very quickly and look around your base to see if any teammate might want to split. Next, you should use every opportunity in the game to get stacked, so especially when no team is attacking you and when you have the space and time to get resources, you should always go and do that. Once again, in my last video I talked about not rushing teams if you have no reason to rush them, and in these cases when a team is not attacking you and you have some space, you should go to mid and to the diamond gens and collect diamonds and emeralds and get those resources. Because if you go into a fight with another team, you'll just be dying over and over again and using your resources. But if you get stacked instead, you will only gain resources without using any, and it's much safer anyway. You should always prioritize getting diamonds and emeralds, and especially getting sharpness and protection upgrades, because if you have a high protection upgrade and sharpness, you can easily win any fight, and that will make you get wins a lot more consistently. Also, if you can do it without angering other teams, you should always steal other diamond gens. So if you can, get more than one diamond gen in the game and get as many diamonds as you can basically. Now this might seem a bit trivial, but you should use your resources, because any resources you have stored in your ender chest but you don't use are basically resources you don't have. And the whole point of getting more resources in Bedwars is to use them so you can have an advantage over your opponents and win the game. So if you collect a lot of resources but you just store them and you never lose them, they are basically of no value to you. So try and not save too many resources for later. If you need to buy a gapler or anything, just buy it and use the resources you have. And unless you know you're going to get more resources later, for example you have 4 emeralds and you know you can get 4 more for Obby later, then you can save in situations like that, but generally it is best to use your resources. Now if you are likely to die and you know that, you can save some resources for the next rush. So maybe you just go into a fight to stall the other team for your teammate to get resources, then you can use fewer resources and save them for the next rush. Utility items like firebolts and pearls, you should always use them rather earlier than later, because if you die with a fireball on you, that's basically 40 iron wasted. So use the items you buy. Talking about buying items, you should stop buying unnecessary items. Especially with tools, I see a lot of players just buying all the tools when they have the iron, but they won't even rush any team, or they don't know what bad defenses they will encounter. So if you do want to push a team, look out for what their bad defense is and buy the tools you're going to need. You can always buy tools later if you realize that you need them, but don't just buy tools just to have them. That's usually a waste of resources, and sometimes you don't even need as many tools to break bats in the game. The same kind of goes for utility items. You do not need to have 10 gapples and 5 firebolts when you're going to die. So buy fewer of those and use the ones you have instead of buying a lot of them and using none. Next, as many of you probably know, the diamond gens in the game and the emerald gens have a cap of 4 diamonds in solos and doubles, and I think 10 diamonds in 3s and 4s, and same for the emerald gens. So this is more useful for the diamond gens, but you can drop the diamonds close to the diamond gen, so new diamonds will spawn. So the next time you go to collect diamonds, there will be 8, for example, if you've dropped 4 and 4 new ones have spawned. So that's a nice little trick when you want to make sure you get more than 4 diamonds, but you don't want to collect the diamonds right now. You just drop them like a couple of blocks away, like 5 blocks should be fine, and new ones will spawn. Talking about generators, you should kind of have a rough idea how long the generators take to spawn new items. When you know there are 4 diamonds at your diamond gen, you should go and collect them to buy the next protection upgrade or whatever. And if there are only 1 or 2 diamonds at the diamond gen, it's usually a bit of a waste of time to go and collect collect them, so wait until the diamond gen has maxed out and there are 4 diamonds, and then you can go and collect them. You can also roughly know when there will be 48 iron in your generator. And sometimes it's useful to stay alive for a bit longer if you can manage that, and then get a bigger generator, especially during the first rush, because getting a full generator then is really important. And you should also roughly remember when emeralds will spawn, so you can collect them as soon as they spawn, because if the emeralds are at mid without being collected for a long time, other teams may get them. So it is always best to collect the emeralds right when they spawn. You can also duplicate emeralds. Basically, you can only do this when you want to buy the Emerald Forge and Molten Forge upgrade at the same time. And you should never just go into the diamond shop and buy them back to back. So click on the Emerald Forge and then the Molten Forge. You should never do that. What you should do is you buy Emerald Forge, then you go into the gen, because then 1 emerald will have spawned. You collect the emeralds, and then you go back and buy Molten Forge, and then go back into your gen again to get another emerald. So instead of getting 1 emerald, you get 2 emeralds. So basically, in short, just buy Emerald Forge, collect the gen, buy Molten Forge, collect the gen again. During the first rush, you should focus on buying damage items instead of utility items, because PvP is a very important aspect during the first rush, and most fights are won by damage and not by knocking your opponent into the void. So basically, you use the resources you have more effectively. So buy damage items like chain armor, swords and gaps, instead of buying stuff like fireballs and knockback sticks, which are usually more aimed towards knocking your opponent into the void. And yeah, as I said, fireballs are usually a waste of resources. When you get a full gen, you could buy a stone sword, chainmail armor, ladders and blocks instead of buying a fireball and fewer blocks. That will usually guarantee that you win the next fight and are able to break your opponent's bed. If you want more resources in Bedwars, you should die less, because every time you die with resources, and dying less is one of the best ways to get a lot more stack. If you never die in the game, you will have so many resources you don't even know how to spend them. So in the last video I talked about playing defensively and not angering other teams and avoiding as many fights as possible, and that is basically the key idea. If you can avoid fighting and play more defensively and just let the other teams fight each other and use their resources, you will be able to get a lot of resources, you will have time to collect resources, and you will not lose resources when dying. Also, you can practice bridging, because if you fall bridging, that's of course a death and you will lose the resources you had. Focus on pressing the shift key and your right mouse button at the same time. You can practice bridging in a single player world, that's what I usually do, that's like the best way to practice bridging. Getting more resources can also be seen in relation to how many resources your enemies have, and you can diminish your opponent's resources by voiding their diamonds, for example. So when you are attacking another team and you go into a fight, you can collect their diamonds and throw them into the void so they won't get them. And also, if you are about to take a fight and it's like an even fight or you're less stacked, you can void the resources you have on you, so when you die, you won't lose them. To collecting resources, team play is also very important when you're playing teams modes like doubles, threes and fours. And basically the main idea is one teammate goes to attack an enemy team. So for example, you go to attack a team. Because you're now threatening to break their bed, they will have to stay back for you and defend. And you can stall them by running around their base or going to their side base. While you are attacking them or holding them, your teammate can collect diamonds and emerald. This way you gain a huge advantage and you can use the emeralds to buy obsidian or to invest them or whatever. And lastly, a nice little trick you can do is fireballing the generators. This works with any generator, and basically when you throw a fireball at a generator, there will be an explosion. The explosion will basically kill the resources. If you think about it, a full generator at the base contains 48 iron and up to 16 gold, while a fireball only costs 40 iron. So throwing a fireball to delete 48 iron is basically an 8 iron loss for your opponent and also a gold loss. This is especially useful for diamond generators as well. If your opponent is about to collect 4 diamonds at a generator and you fireball the diamonds, they will now not get the 4 diamonds and you can take a fight with them because now you have a diamond advantage. Basically, the bottom line of this video is to use your resources wisely and to play defensively to die less. Use your resources to buy the right items. Usually items that will deal damage are better, and if you do not need an item, don't buy it.